Radhe Radhe everybody. How is everybody doing? Today I welcome you to one more deep dive session for verse 250 from Bhagavad Gita. Now, what I did with this was I have referred to Jnaneshwari. I'll just give you the books that I referred to. I don't recommend this in the beginning. When you are just reading the Gita for the first time, do not go to different commentaries. That may not be as rewarding. So the second one that I went to was Swami Chidbhavananda's commentary. And the third one that I went to was Tattva Vivechana. Why did I go to these? Let's look at this verse and see why I wanted to establish something with one particular word, which is one of the several important words in this verse. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrite tasmat yogaya yujyasva yoga karmashu kaushalam. I put yoga karmashu kaushalam in caps because that sums up what this is about. Karma done in yoga is the best skillful way of doing any karma. Now, leaving that aside, the first word I took and I ripped it apart. I said, what does this mean? Buddhi yukto. One endowed with this intelligence. If you directly take the buddhi, it just means intelligence. And yukto is one endowed with yuktaha. So, buddhi yuktaha, one endowed with this intelligence. Now, let me see what exactly this buddhi yukta is or buddhi is here. And I went to Jnaneshwari, which said one who has yoked his intelligence with the divine. So the buddhi here is not actual like normal word intelligence that we use for doing our tasks in the mundane world, but here this buddhi is the buddhi that has actually combined itself with the divine intelligence. And in Tattva Vivechana, it says one endowed with equanimity. They call this buddhi as a buddhi that is established in equanimity, the buddhi or intelligence that has surpassed the likes and dislikes and all the dvandvas, which is the dualities of the human condition. This buddhi, this intelligence has transcended. That's the buddhi they are talking about. All of this boils down to be the same, but we'll first make a case that it is talking about equanimity. Now, before I get into 239, I would go, this is 250. So, we first see the 239 is where Buddhi Yoga is also mentioned the first time after he tells everything to Arjuna about what the body is and what the soul is and that we are not the body. And then he brings in this topic of Buddhi Yoga. Before I get to that, I'm going to discuss 241 here because it talks about Vyavasayatmika Buddhihi Ekeha Kurunandana Bahushakhahi Anantascha Buddhayor Avyavasayinam. He talks about two types of buddhi. One which is very much tilled, cultivated, already worked upon. This intelligence is pure intelligence or perfected intelligence, which is Ekeha Kurunandana, which has single-minded focus. Bahushakhahi, just like so many branches in a tree, Anantasha, innumerable branches. Buddhayoho avyavasayinam, the one intellect that's not been worked upon or perfected, has so many branches to it, and it's not single pointed like avyavasayatmika buddhihi. He talks about that, and then he talks about what avyavasayinam is in detail in bhoga aishwarya prashaktanam taya apahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadhau na vidiyate. In 244 he says that avyavasaya buddhi will never be vyavasaya buddhi because that buddhi is yoked. When we say yoked, it's joined. It has its connection with bhoga and aishwarya, which is the material comforts and material wealth, so to speak. I mean, it's not just that, it's just outwardly. This intelligence is seeking things outside of itself, and that's why samadhau, for it, peace will never be there because only vyavasayatmika buddhi will have that kind of peace. In 249 again he talks about Buddhi Yoga. So something about this Buddhi has to be joined, and that yoga is called Buddhi Yoga. Durena Hyavaram Karma Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya Buddhau Sharanam Anvicha Kripana Phalahetavaha. Here Bhagwan says that this going and working towards a phala, a fruit, is actually inferior to the karma that comes out of Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga is superior. Once you take refuge to that Buddhi Yoga or Buddhau Sharanam, when you seek intelligence, seek refuge in the pure intelligence, then that action that flows out of that is always superior to the one that does not flow out of that, which Kripana, which says the actions that are performed that way with the result in mind is miserly. He denounces that. So he talks about one Buddhi Yoga which is apparently superior, applying which every action becomes somehow divine and also skillful and also minimum effort kind of thing. So in 239 is where he starts that topic itself. He says Eshati Bihita Sankhya Buddhir Yoge Tvimam Shunu Buddhya Yukto Yaya Partha Karma Bandhana Prahasyasi. So hitherto I explained Sankhya Yoga. Now listen to Buddhi Yoga. When you work with this one, you will be released from the bondage of karma. He says that even though you will be acting, nothing will bind you if you were to apply this Buddhi Yoga. Now that is the kind of Buddhi Yukta. You take that kind of pure intelligence and apply it to your action, and then your action becomes skillful. How? Because you are going to jahati, you are going to shed iha, in this life, ubhe, both sukruta and dushkruta. There's a reason why this all starts after sukha dukkhe same kritva, because now we are going to say that Bhagwan is making a case for yoga of equanimity. That's what yoga is, equanimity. That's why he starts with sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jaya. That verse says, treat all the opposites the equal, gain and loss and happiness and sadness. If you fight that way, that would be the good way. He makes a case for this, and then comes with all these verses and speaks about Buddhi Yukto, and then he says Yogaha Karmashu Kausalam. So one who does Buddhi Yukto, even he is endowed with that pure intelligence, is able to shed both good and bad. And Tasma, therefore, yogaya, practice this yoga, which is the Buddhi Yoga. Yujyasva, many versions say Yujyasva, fight the war, or do whatever you're doing. In Tattva Vechana, it says exert yourself in this. Exert yourself in this kind of action, which is endowed with, or which is combined with this Buddhi Yoga. This yoga of equanimity, karmashu kausalam, this yoga of equanimity is skill in action. So that's the best way to do any action, which is to combine this yoga. Now there is a case made here for Buddhi Yoga. We know Buddhi is intelligence. We are able to see that Buddhi needs to be perfected to be pure intelligence, which is yoked with the divine intelligence. And when the actions flow out of that divine intelligence, actions seem to be well performed, irrespective of its results. And it also seems to release us from all the bondages. So if we were to say, okay, this yoga that he speaks about is equanimity. Now Buddhi Yoga is what I'm going to do, and so I am going to treat everything equal. So that again is not possible because we are identified with the body, and that's why he starts off with that first part of Sankhya Yoga, fully establishing the fact that we are not the body and that we are souls. Now if we just read that doesn't come, okay, now I cannot finally decide, okay, I'm not the body, I'm the soul, and start doing everything with the body, because for all practical reasons we are using the mind, intelligence and the body for all our actions. So we cannot just declare that and keep going and say, I have shed both Sukrita and Dushkrita, and now nothing will bind me. That may not be possible. Even if we declare it, our mind will keep grabbing on to the Sukrita and Dushkrita, and so we will be bound by the karmas. So what is this Buddhi Yoga then? And how would we even go about practicing Buddhi Yoga or doing whatever is needed to attain it? We are going to go to 10:10. That is the most famous verse. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Now this buddhi yogam I will give it to you on those ever united through meditation with me and worshipping me with love. I confer that yoga of wisdom by which they come to me. So all this you're doing only to get rid of, shed both. All these words, they do show you that you are trying to get rid of the polarities and become one, or go towards one. And how will we go towards one? How will we even develop that equanimity? Is just doing this, serving Bhagavan with love, worshipping him with love, meditating on him with love, ever united. Yoga, yukta, all this is yoke. So that's the combining, that's the union that we're talking about. Always united with him. What we will do is we will do our actions always united with him. How? We'll keep him as the center of our life. That's what I get from this verse. And then yoga karmashu kaushalam would be the most easy thing for us to achieve. And then this is also telling us that being a yogi acts in favor of us. Of course, Buddhi Yoga I apply to my life and do all my actions with most skill, which is there is no resistance because I've already shed the heavy, heavy attachment towards its results. So I'm good here. So I start to become a yogi. The more and more I perform actions this way, it's going to lead me to be a yogi. So what kind of yogi that it makes me, and what kind of yogi is Bhagavan speaking about? That's something that we will see here. Let me get to the chapter. So this Buddhi Yoga, when applied, will make me a yogi. What kind of a yogi? A supreme yogi. Why supreme? Just like we say, there are doctors, right? There are many doctors. There are many healthcare workers. Let's just begin there. A nurse practitioner, many people, physical therapists, all of them are there. Within that, we are taking one group. We take doctors. There are many doctors. And then within that, when we make a decision to go to, this is just a wild example that just came to me, when we go and choose a particular doctor we want to go see, we will see who's the most skillful of them all, who has got more success in his, let's say we are scheduling a surgery or whatever, we will see how much of good patient outcomes this person has given, how skilled is he. How do we decide that? We decide that with his outcomes. Here in spirituality, how would we decide what's the most supreme thing in being this way, being a yogi? We'll go Bhagwan's words, and of course we came to Bhagwan's words. So Bhagwan himself is saying in 647 that which kind of a yogi is a supreme yogi? Applying this, what will we become? We will become yoginam api sarvesham मद्गतेनाम अंतरात्मनः श्रद्धावान भजते यो मां समे युक्त तमो मतः. Of all yogis, again, he who devoutly worships me with his mind focused on me is considered by me to be the best yogi. So everything that you do here to shed the dualities, shed the attachment we have towards our actions, shed both the good and bad deeds. It's not going to happen unless and otherwise there is the sense of surrender and sense of surrender to the higher power. Here Bhagavan says, you come to me and you worship me, I will give you that Buddhi Yoga. Not only that, you'll be the best yogi ever, because that's the kind of yogi that this Buddhi Yoga creates. I hope you enjoyed this session. I was thinking of doing this verse while I was writing, and it became very hard with me switching commentaries. And this is one best way I like. I mean, even if I were to sit with just one commentary, which is recommended in the beginning stages, take one word out of a verse, rip it apart, think of it in different angles. The meaning is there, the exact meaning is there in the commentaries. The commentaries, word by word meanings don't lie, they don't go far. Only the purport and the explanations differ a little bit according to philosophies, but the word by word meaning does not go very far. So you can take one word and contemplate on it, and what does he say about it? Is there a verse before this verse that I can refer to, that there is a connection with this? Is there a verse after it? So that's how you go about studying, when you want to take one word and contemplate on it and see what Bhagavan has to say for us. This kind of study is something that I enjoy a lot. This is a time consuming study. We have to give good time for this. This is not one of those cases where I say, right, just read. Those things also work. That's to stay in touch with the message. But this kind of study is a deep dive. I hope you're all studying the Gita, enjoying applying the verses within your lives. May Lord Krishna bless us all. And until I meet you again, Radhe Radhe everyone.